The Bodhi tree, a powerful symbol of wisdom and compassion. It was here that the Buddha attained enlightenment. Descendants of the original Bodhi tree have stood in the holy site of Bodh Gaya, India, for more than 2,000 years, surviving both the effects of time and efforts to uproot them. Their story, like that of the Tibetan people, is one of endurance, survival, and inspiration. Every year, over 10,000 Tibetans gather here to pray for world peace. Here they receive the texts that will allow them to continue to study and practice their endangered wisdom tradition. This is the World Peace Ceremony, a 10-day event that draws monks, nuns, and lay people from all corners of Tibet, India, and the Himalayan region. Participants from as many as 3,300 monasteries, nunneries, and retreat centers attend the ceremony. Through the World Peace Ceremony, this most sacred place has become the cradle for a renaissance of Tibetan culture and wisdom. Over a period of more than 1,400 years, the Tibetans had developed and refined a profound spiritual tradition based on wisdom and on compassion for the suffering of all living beings. In Tibet, the land of snows, a beautiful culture thrived, a secret treasure for all humanity. At its heart were sacred books and art and the guidance of teachers who dedicated their lives to transmitting the precious knowledge these treasures contained. All this was endangered in the 1950s, when the Chinese invasion led to the destruction of thousands of libraries, monastic centers, and nunneries. Tibetans who wished to keep their culture alive were forced to flee their homeland. In the early 1960s, a young Lama in exile named Tartang Tulku made a pilgrimage to sit under the Bodhi tree. Although he was a penniless refugee, he made heartfelt prayers that he could somehow serve the teachings that had been the lifeblood of his culture and which were now threatened with extinction. Preserving Tibetan culture requires restoring a vast body of literature and knowledge that encompasses philosophy, psychology, medicine, poetry, and spirituality. Intent on this task, Tartang Tulku made his way to America. By the early 1980s, he had established an organization to print and distribute Tibetan language texts. Thanks to you, the Tibetan Aid Project is now a major contributor to this historic effort. Every year, books by the tens of thousands are printed, shipped to India, and given away at the World Peace Ceremony. The Tibetan Aid Project and its affiliated organizations have donated more than 3 million books to Tibetan refugees throughout Asia. Entire libraries have been created, ushering in an unprecedented era of literacy for the Tibetan people. Books that were once too rare and fragile to be read by more than a few are now available for many to study. For the first time in history, nuns have the opportunity to obtain advanced degrees. Tibetan children who might have grown up without being able to read their own language are now able to receive the essential teachings of their culture. These books are seeds of wisdom, already taking root, that may one day spread the spirit of peace and compassion throughout the world. But none of this is certain. The seeds of wisdom need proper nurturing to grow. While the books are treasures in themselves, the wisdom they contain can best be unlocked by the few remaining teachers who received rigorous formal training in the old Tibet. The last of these teachers are now in their 70s and 80s. Without such masters to decipher and transmit their subtle, deeper meanings, these books will remain only books, and the living wisdom tradition may well be lost. It is the Tibetan Aid Project's mission to give away as many essential texts as possible in the precious few years that remain for students to study with these venerable masters. The Tibetan Aid Project has accomplished much, but there is still urgent work to be done. Over the years, thousands of people have joined in its mission, helping plant the seeds of wisdom. Thanks to them, thanks to you, there is now more hope than ever before that the profound teachings of Tibet will once more thrive, and that its message of insight and compassion will reach the entire world, growing roots as deep as those of the Bodhi tree and benefiting all humanity.